Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to 30 Minutes of Wisdom. I'm your host, Robin Blank Mascari, and we get together twice a month to share great wisdom from thought leaders in all different arenas. And as Jim Rohn says, work twice as hard on yourself as you do on your business because you are your business. So, all these resources we love to share hopefully contribute to your health and well being. And today, oh my goodness, we have a gift for your health and well-being that is par excellence. And just a brief little story before I introduce our guest. As many of you know, Gregory had a health challenge last year and had a incredible, miraculous recovery. And one of the earliest calls we made was to our guest today because of his great wisdom in health and well-being. And he is an author, speaker, an Alkalarian lifestyle advisor. I love that. Father of 7 and grandfather of 26. He was born in 1941 and he's 80 years young. He is a self-proclaimed Alkalarian, and you'll learn what that is in just a few minutes. And he eats cat for breakfast every day. And you're going to learn what that means. Back in 1959, he actually enlisted in the Navy and in 82 retired as a diving officer. As he says, he jumped out of airplanes, landed in the water, and then blew things up. You may or may not hear a little bit more about that, but it's pretty fascinating. He loves the water. And he started, doing research on health and wellness 30 years ago. In 2009, after an annual physical that said he was fine, he actually had a massive heart attack. So from 2012 to 2019, he started, it put him on a health journey in a very focused way. And he started teaching about alkalinity and had a water and wellness center in Salt Lake City. And he was one of the best of Salt Lake City in wellness education many, many years, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And so he established the Alkaline Club of America. And his goal is to create 1 million alkalarians. How do you like that? You're going to learn what that is in just a few minutes. The education, he just loves, he's got a servant's heart and loves to educate people. He really is an amazing student of health and well-being. So he says he's on your side. He's a messenger, so don't shoot him. Love that. So next year his book is coming out. He's going to do a TED Talk. He's got a wonderful website. I put it in the chat. It's health.com. So you can look at that later. And I want to bring on our special guest. Welcome, Richard Davidson.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I love it. Mr. Vibrant Health, you are. Well, we're using this term that might not be familiar to a lot of people. And I know that you were one of the earliest calls I made when Gregory had his health challenge, and you were right there for us. And now, since he had such an amazing recovery, people ask, what did you do? And one of the first things I share is becoming, living an alkaline lifestyle. So what does being an alkalarian really mean?
Well, that's quite a story. And this whole presentation, like I said before, is like taking a drink out of a fire hydrant. But I do have a slide presentation, and if you don't mind, I would like to introduce that, and I'll make it quick because I know this 30-minute goes really fast.
Okay.
So, would you mind if I shared the screen?
Great. So Gregory, can you share the screen?
Yes, you should have screen sharing privilege. Just click on the bottom. Mm-hmm.
All right, let me see if I click on the right one here now.
And Richard loves Hawaii, you guys, just in case you didn't know. There we go.
All right. Well, to start off with, as I was mentioned, I was in the Navy, and I had a lot of fun out in Hawaii, 13 years, 5 years in Vietnam, and I traveled around the Pacific. But the main thing was that I just enjoyed myself. I've always enjoyed myself doing whatever I'm doing. And I was always in top health. And I also had many opportunities to share what I was doing, both on active duty and then after I retired. But I'm really, really proud to be 80 years young. My wife and I, we're just active. We travel a lot. And we just offer this extension to join us on this natural health and wellness by just looking at the lifestyle program that we have. This is a chart that I use. I call it my fear chart. But basically, there's about 29 different symptoms and diseases on this chart that people, when they don't have it, they look at it, they get it like a fear. It creates a lot of anxiety and a lot of challenges just by looking at the names of them. And sometimes you get to choose which ones you get. Now, mine happens to be heart attack on there. And other people have different ones that, cancer, dementia, stroke, goes on and on and on. But these symptoms and diseases are just what they are. They're just names. And I do have to read a short disclaimer, as my lawyer makes me do all the time. But I want to let you know that I am not a doctor or a scientist. I make no claims to cure any ailments, symptoms, or diseases. I make no recommendations that will guarantee any physical, mental, or emotional results or cures. I only offer information, education, and awareness of an existing protocol that has been practiced for a long time and has helped many individuals improve their personal daily health and wellness. Now, get back to your question, what is an alkalarian? Well, I got my information from Dr. Robert Young. I met him in the early 90s. He had a book came out in 2002 called The pH Miracle. And that was my first. It's pretty technical and it was way above my head, but I studied and reread it, I don't know, 100 times, I'm sure. But when we get into thinking about what our protocol is all about for ourselves in wellness, diet, stamina, strength, fitness, exercise, health, lifestyle, and nutrition, we all think about those things. And that's personal wellness. We should think about those things just to stay healthy. But when you have health issues, you need to explore other options. And that's what Gregory has done. And that's what I did. And this is what we advocate. Just look at the other options that might be available. But you do need to change your mindset if you're going to do this and your lifestyle in order to get the results that you desire. So an alkalarian, here's some terms to think about when we get into this subject. Remember that red is acidic and blue is alkaline. In the cycle of sickness, you have free radicals, which we've heard about, acidosis, which is a new word, inflammation and oxidation. So free radicals causes acidosis, which causes inflammation. Now, we've all heard about inflammation and oxidation, but we got to learn where acidosis causes that. But that causes the symptoms we all recognize or told about, and that ultimately leads to a disease, which ultimately leads to death. And this is what I call my cycle of sickness. Well, in the cycle of wellness, very briefly, we let food be thy medicine, as quoted by Hippocrates. You need antioxidants, and we're going to talk about more about that. You need to recognize your body pH. That's a very important question. What is your body pH? You want to be healthy, you want to live long and well, and you want to die happy at a very old age. That's my story, and now we'd like to move into some of the different areas of some questions that we might want to ask ourselves.
So do you want me to move on to, the priorities of the different body wellness functions and, what we should, what are your suggestions that can really help us live this kind of lifestyle that is blue, alkaline, and alive and happy?
Thank you. Well, bottom line is to protect your body from toxic acidosis. And as again, it's a new word, but this is what we're going to learn about it. Well, you have to know what acidosis is. But all your cells require alkaline air, alkaline water, alkaline food, alkaline supplements. And we just added this last year, alkaline thoughts or a mindset. Now, I'd just like to briefly review each of those. So when you're talking about alkaline air, you're talking about breathing. there's a new book out, which I just met James Nestor in July up at a wellness festival up in Sun Valley, Idaho. And he's all about breathing. He's a free diver. He's also a researcher. But he came out with a book called Breath. And we shared that with Robin and Gregory here just lately, because we all need to breathe. You just get a few minutes to breathe without air. And I'm sure Robin can, do you have any comments about the Breath book?
We really enjoyed listening to his interview recently. And now Gregory and I are breathing a lot more through our nose and humming.
Yes, perfect. Well, the next area is water. That was been my main category because I learned about water as a diver in the Navy, and I learned about the type of water over in Japan while I was over there. And water is not just water. You have to have good water. We'll be talking about exactly what that is. But basically, you want to drink alkaline mineral water, no matter where you get it from, doesn't matter. We serve it and sell it in our store here in Salt Lake City, so the local people can get the best water in the world. But we also have learned the new technology of molecular hydrogen water, which you add to the alkaline mineral water. And as a note, how much water you should drink? Half your weight in ounces every day, minimum. And then we do have some series about molecular hydrogen we'll chat about. Getting into the food, Dr. Susan Brown came out with a book called The Acid Alkaline Food Guide. And I think that was one of the first books I gave Robin and Gregory up there. And it just gives you a quick reference of everything that's alkaline and everything acidic. And then we got a challenge at the end of this stuff for you using that book. Dr. Susan Brown is a great lady bone doctor, and that's a great book called The Acid Alkaline Food Guide. And that's one we all use. Basic supplements.
Richard, before you move on away from food to supplements, are you going to tell people what CAT is?
I am. It'll come up.
Okay, good. Good. I just want to make sure people know what you mean by eating cat for breakfast.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'll keep them in suspense for a little while longer.
Okay. It's a deal.
So the supplements, when you're younger, you don't quite need the supplement if you're eating, drinking, and doing the right thing. And your body's very forgiving when you're younger. But as you get older, you do need to add supplements. You just need to know what kind and the right kind, because everybody's going to sell you supplements. I'm out of the selling business. I just want you to know what type of supplements. And we have videos coming up on each one of these subjects the rest of the year. We've done the air one. We're completing the water one. We're going to do food next month, supplements the following month, and then the thoughts and the mindset at the end of the year. By the end of the year, we'll have basically an overview and 5 different videos available for people to review. But the bottom line for me, mine is I take a glass of Soleil every morning, which is Himalayan crystal salts with pure water. A teaspoon of Soleil is like drinking a teaspoon of the Pacific Ocean. And we won't get into all the details of this, but I'm just telling you what I take every morning. Most of it's liquid. But I take a yellow drink with L-arginine citrulline, and that's for my heart. I want my arteries to stay clean. I do not want another heart attack. But Dr. Gnero won the Nobel Peace Prize for discovering nitric oxide, and he wrote a book called No More Heart Diseases. I drink a red drink with the polyphenols in it. Every day I know I got all my polyphenols without even eating anything, but I take them as a drink. Then I have a green drink, and I call this yellow, red, and green drink my stoplight diet. All liquid, all immediately reactive. Sorry. Then the green drink is chlorophyll and fulvic minerals. And then my last one is H2, which is molecular hydrogen. And then I take a Vitality detox drops to clean out the metals out of my system. I do take a magnesium glycinate tablet as a tablet. Everybody needs magnesium. Everybody is short on magnesium. I won't go into the story about my mind and body, but I did used to teach the Tai Chi out in Hawaii on the beach at 6 o'clock in the morning every Saturday. And that was a lot of fun. That was a long time ago. So what I'd like to do is, go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, well, I love that you live the rainbow lifestyle. Mr. Hawaii himself. It's so beautiful. And I think that's one of the things a lot of us miss is the diversity of colors in our life. So, what is alkalinity? You're about to go into, and how do we know if we're acidic or alkaline?
Okay, we're definitely going to get into that. Well,
Right.
the pH chart, we're going to get into the pH chart and show you that, but everything in the world has to do with the pH chart. Money, you're in the black or you're in the red. In your health, you're in the black or the red. On the beach, you see a rainbow, it goes to the full spectrum of the pH chart. So everything is based upon alkalinity, but nobody recognizes that. But I have, and I do. But to get into what alkalinity actually is, you have to know what pH is, and it stands for potential hydrogen. But if you had a swimming pool, you'd have to know what the pH of the pool is to swim in that pool safely. It's required by law. If you had a garden, you'd want to know what the pH of the soil is so you can grow organic vegetables that I know Robin grows in her garden, and a lot of gardens have, but you have to know the pH of the soil. But the most important question is, what is your personal pH? And that's a hard question to answer, but I'm going to give you the answer and then a good way to remember it. It's 7.365. And the way to remember it, there's 7 days in a week and 365 days in a year. Now, this is the pH chart. Now, as we go through this chart, as we go through this chart, you will see that it goes from 1 to 14, and that's the scale. That's the same thing as the rainbow and all the everything we were just talking about. But it's 1 through 14, with 1 being most acidic and 14 being the highest in the alkaline. So if you're above 7 base, you get into alkaline wellness. If you're below 7, you get into acidic sickness. So most diabetics are about a 6 on the pH scale, and we'll get into how you test. And cancer is about a 5 on the pH scale. So, and soda is way down there, 2 on the pH scale.
So before you move on, I just want to highlight this because it's so important that disease, from my understanding, and I love your comment on this, Richard, disease can't exist in a healthy pH body. Is that correct?
That's absolutely true. It cannot.
Okay, so that's a bottom line for everyone to understand and to know. So Richard's going to get into how do we know what our pH is?
Exactly. Well, I appreciate that comment because that's probably the most important point that can be made here. If you live in an acidic area, you're going to get a sickness. And sometimes on that fear chart, you get to choose. You can choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can have up to 10 if you want. But I choose to have none. So I want to keep my body where it was born, where it is. We'll get into how that evolved. The bottom line is that blood pH is about 7.365, and blood cannot change. It has to maintain that. If your blood goes down 0.2 of a point to 7.1, you could go into a coma and die. People who are in comas in the hospital, all they're trying to do is get the pH back up to 7.365. The amniotic fluid in the mother's womb, where we all live for 9 months, is about 7.365. When we came out of our mother's womb, we were born, and all of our body fluids were about 7.365. But that changes constantly every single day. So we can't do anything about our blood. It has to maintain that. We lived for 9 months in that area. Now we can do what we put into our body. Most carbonated drinks, soda, is about a 2. It's 50,000 times more acidic than base water. So we recommend you Google and learn all about acidosis. Now we're going to go on to another chart that explains absorption. So ion means to be absorbed. And there's a chart on the right here that's got about free radicals and antioxidant molecules. And we're going to just go over this briefly. So a free radical is a molecule that is out of balance and has a positive unpaired electron. On the right-hand side, you can see that. An antioxidant is a molecule that's in balance with lots of negative electrons and is ready to neutralize free radicals by donating negative electrons. That's why they tell you to get lots of antioxidants so you can get rid of the free radicals out of your body. All cells require alkaline water, alkaline nutrients to function and to regenerate. So your mouth is alkaline functioning, your stomach is acidic functioning, your small intestine is alkaline function, your lymph is what brings that acidic waste back to get rid of it out of your body through your large intestine, which is acidic. So we're alkaline by design, but acidic by function. All cells create a acid residue, and it must be removed and not build up to inflammation, which leads to symptoms, disease, and death, as we talked about in the chart. We remove acidic waste by BSPP. That means breathing, sweating, peeing, and pooping. Well, Dr. Oz said that on TV, so I guess I can say it here.
All right.
Yep. On the chart over here, you got water channels in every cell. Now, this is just a simple example of a cell. So alkaline nutrients and water try to get in all those water channels into a cell to get it cleaned out. But if it's contaminated and you have a lot of acid waste in there, that's when a cell can be diseased. So you have to get all that residue out. It affects your mitochondria, which are your spark plugs, and that's your metabolism. And you got to keep that fed all the time. You got to keep the cells cleaned out. So you bring in alkaline nutrients and water into the cells, and you've got to get that acidic waste out of your cells. And you get it out by respiration, perspiration, urination, and defecation. I think that is.
Okay. So
any questions on that one?
Yeah. Well, I just want to highlight that, our blood is always consistent and it will rob from other parts of our body to stay at that 7.365. But our saliva and our urine do change based on our lifestyle. So you have some recommendations, I think, of, what you suggest would help us live this alkaline lifestyle. Yes?
Yes, I do. And I'll try to be very brief.
Oh, there you go.
But I breathe, drink, eat, and alkaline. By following the alkaline lifestyle, you can join us on this road to alkaline wellness. For example, I eat a cat every morning for breakfast. That's an alkaline cucumber, an alkaline avocado, and an alkaline tomato. That's our International Cat Club. Try it. You might even like it.
It's good.
Good. I think I prepared it for you a long time ago.
You did. And you gave us those books too.
That's right. And to get started, I recommend 3 books. The Acid Alkaline Food Guide, the number 1, is $8.95. You got to get that book. I gave it to Robin, and I passed out hundreds and hundreds of these copies. But you can just order it online. The next book I've got is called The Alkaline Cure, and that follows Dr. Stephen Domenig, which is Dr. Mayer Institute in Austria. And that's where I got most of my information from, was by following Dr. Mayer. He's been and taught it for over 100 years. The last book I just added in 2018 is called Get Off Your Acid by Dr. Jeffrey. Now, I used to teach this class, and I would write on the board, I'd say, for health's sake, get off your fatty acid. But then he came out with a book called Get Off Your Acid. Great. I'm going to put that in our repertoire, and I use it for my classes and everything else we have. But they are all available at Barnes & Noble. I have added a 4th book we'll chat a little bit about.
Well, I recommend that most recent one to lots of people because we get these calls all the time of people. And I said, this might really be helpful because that book just covers the many dimensions that you talk about living alkalarian.
Yeah, right. both those books, I recommend them both. One, they give you a 14-day startup, a 7-day startup. You get immediate results, basically, if you're committed to changing your mindset.
Great.
Well, now you talked about how we check this out. Well, I have my doctors and my dentists, and I do get regular checks up for medical tests to make sure my lifestyle is keeping me alkaline. I want to know for sure, not guessing. There's a way you can check for your heart if you got calcium in your heart, and we'll talk about a little bit about that. But there's different things that you can do. If you want to exercise and eat healthy and reduce the stress and drink plenty of water, that's been a standard for years and years. But I adopted the alkaline lifestyle in 2002, and it saved my life in 2009 when I had my heart attack. If I had not gone alkaline in 2002, I wouldn't be on this call. I would be one of those healthy guys that had a heart attack and died. And I don't want anybody to join me. I have a private club, and do not join my heart club. No members wanted.
No, we don't want it.
Well, I am the walking talk example that this works. And if you change your attitude, change your lifestyle, it will change your life.
I love it. So, Richard, did you want to bring on a special guest that has adopted this lifestyle? And we do have some, after Richard's done with his presentation, we have some questions from people. So, um, is it time to bring on our guest?
Yes, let me just bring that down to, let's see, I think though, let me just finish this up. The only thing that we got into is the basic facts and the test, but like I say, you can do a litmus paper test, and that will sort of give you an indicator about your pH. You put your urine or your saliva will give you a litmus taste, and there's strips. But use the strips for testing water, but I recommend the paper. There's a little kit you can get like this. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a little litmus paper like that. You just tear off a strip and put it on your tongue early in the morning before you eat or drink anything. And that'll kind of give you an indicator of where you are with your acidic level. But most people will always test yellow or red, and it's always down below 7. But you want to take your CRP reactive protein test, your A1C test, keep your blood lipid test up all the time and ask for certain things. And the last one is the CAC score, CAC score, coronary artery calcium score. You want it to be 0. And we can get into that when you go to the website. But I just want to thank you for the interest in the program. And we wish you a lot of luck. But we're going to see if we can bring Zoe on board. But I would like to leave you with, I've always had my eye on my health. And now I have myeyeonhealth.com. Let's see.
I love it. And when people go to that website, I know some people have asked about the names of the books, and Leslie, thank you for listing the books in the chat. And you can find out more of that information on Richard's website, myeyeonhealth.com. And there's a lot of resources there, and you can connect with Richard. And before we bring Zoe on, you want to talk about the wellness kit?
Let's see.
You want to bring Zoe on first?
Let's bring Zoe on, then I can finish up because I better.
Okay. Well, before you introduce her, I just want to say I had the pleasure of meeting Zoe quite a while ago when she was new to LifeWave, and she's going to share her story. And she's had a major transformation working with Richard, and is also a self-proclaimed Alkalarian. So you get to introduce her, and I am so excited to see her.
Okay, we're going to have to do this really quickly, Zoe.
That's okay.
Anyway, so Zoe and I met almost 2 years ago. She had already started. There she is. She had already started on the road to alkaline protocol with her mate there, and he was cooking alkaline food for her. And she started making these changes. And I'll let her give her 30-second testimony. But she's wonderful. We're working together now. She's had tremendous results. She looks like 2 different people. We won't show it now, but she does have a 4.5-minute testimony, and she had MS. I'll give you. Okay, Zoe, turn over to you.
Okay, let's just go to go. Okay, yes. As Richard was saying, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis back in 2009, January. I'd lost all sensation in my legs. My skin sensation from under my bust to my feet had completely gone. The only people I had to turn to was the doctors. And the only advice they could give me is to provide me with lots of different medications, including chemotherapy. But they said nothing would prevent it from progressing, and nothing would cure it. And I accepted that, because from birth, we're taught that doctors are there to provide everything we need, and we don't need to go looking anywhere else. Fortunately, there's pioneers in this world now that know to look elsewhere, and have expanded upon that. But I did spend 9 years in a wheelchair, and I had completely given up. And yes, as Richard said, there is a full 4-minute video. I tend to get really nervous on videos, but but we get there. But yes, and when I met my partner in, when was it to be, 2018, he came with me for one of those treatments of the chemotherapy, and it came with a risk of a fatal brain infection. And said, well, he, without a surprise, really, he said, "Is this really what you want for the rest of your life? This hanging over you that it could happen, and at some point it will happen?" And I was like, "No, actually, this is not what I want." So he helped me change my mindset. He stood by me as I came off all the medications. We instantly stopped the chemotherapy. I never went back for any more. 3 months after stopping the chemotherapy and him changing my mindset, cooking all my meals fresh for me, and quite literally pushing my butt up a hill to try and get me to walk. It was quite amusing, and I slipped a couple of times, but I did it. And 3 months after that, I was then walking with a cane. And 9 months later, in total, weight that I'd lost was 165 pounds that I'd actually lost in weight. And he jokes now that quite literally I'm half the woman he met. But yes, from then we met Richard, and he explained to us that what we was already doing was what he teaches. And I've been working alongside him ever since to expand my own knowledge of what I can do to continue with improving my own health. And that is what we're now doing. Yes. Any questions, Robin?
Thank you, thank you.
Zoe, it's so wonderful to see you, because I saw you quite a while ago. It's been quite a while. And I mean, you've got a full life again, don't you, my dear?
Indeed, I do indeed. There's nothing stopping me. I've been through healing crisis and things like that, where there was, for instance, I actually started with the X39 patches. I got all the patches. I had patches on everywhere, but it turned out it was too much all at once. And thankfully, Dr. Nicholas explained that to me, and then I needed to rein it down a little bit and just take it a bit more steady, not have them on constantly all the time, just to give my body that chance to recover, because it actually did trigger symptoms in me, but it was because my body was trying to heal too quickly. So that caused inflammation on, if you think about a cut, when you have a cut on your arm, when it heals, it swells around it. So that swelling is happening with my multiple sclerosis as it heals. So where I thought, oh my God, I'm having a relapse. And Dr. Nicholas explained that no, it's because your body, your immune system's gone to heal the area, and that's what's triggering inflammation and making you have those symptoms. So yes. But yeah, that's a good lead into the patches, because I was using the patches.
Well, you're an amazing miracle story that, I mean, I remember connecting with you early on in your journey, and you had some incredible results from the patches, but the alkaline lifestyle took you to a whole nother level of health. And you said those books are your Bibles. And for anyone that's dealing with health challenges, you know, this is an invitation to really look deeper into this lifestyle that Richard's talking about. So Richard, you want to share thank you, Zoe, by the way, that was beautiful. And I look forward to connecting with you on Zoom so we can visit some more. Richard, do you want to share a little bit about your offer for everybody?
Right. Well, basically, I'll call to action first, and then we'll make the offering.
Great.
Appreciate it so much. But what I'd like everybody to think about doing is get the Acid Alkaline Food Guide, Dr. Susan Brown's book. It's $8.95. And then I challenge you to go alkaline for 90 days. And you can do it cold turkey. It won't kill you, but it might help you. But no acidic food or drink for 90 days. And then you get off of it slowly. You will feel a difference. And you too can become an alkalarian and join us. I would like to offer 3 offers with Zoe and I, and there's 3 free offers. We're not selling anything. We're information, education, awareness. I stopped selling things 4 or 5 years ago. I just want to be the messenger, as I said, so do not shoot the messenger. The first thing I'd like to offer is the first 10 listeners that go to our new website and sign up to become an alkalarian will receive a free alkaline wellness kit. And that looks like this. You can see that. And it's a complete kit somewhere. Can't see the inside of it, but it's a kit that we use for when I do my corporate trainings and my other type of information that I put out to the people around here. The second thing we'd like to offer, anyone else that signs up will receive a free downloadable alkaline wellness outline. And it's just self-explanatory, and there's no charge for any of these things, okay? Number 3, at the end, we would like to have a drawing of all those who signed up, and the winner will receive a free 1-hour joint Zoom alkaline wellness consulting session with me and Zoe. Now, her specialty is MS. My specialty is heart disease. I'm in the heart attack prevention business. We're going to have videos on each of those specialty things, and we're going to get into all the other ones too, diabetes and cancer and all the rest of them. But that's my website, as Robin has mentioned. Just go there and sign up, and we won't pass it out to anybody else. But our goal is to have 1 million alkalarians, and we're just getting started.
Beautiful, beautiful, Richard. That was amazing. And I'm hoping that people got inspired to become educated and learn more. I pull out that little book with the guides of the different foods, and it's quite surprising, some of them. And I know we have a few questions here. Are you open to answer a few questions?
You bet. Let me just end it this way. Here's my wife today. We just had it recently taken. But I want to thank everyone for letting me share our story. I'd like to invite you to join us on this road to great health and wellness, me and my wife, and share it with your family, your friends, and all your associates. My email is rcd@mstar.net. My cell number is 801-561-9420. And remember, the bottom line is alkaline.
The bottom line is alkaline. What a great way to end. That was fabulous. And I mean, you come through me all the time, Richard, when people call, and I talk about get off your acid all the time. And, the first thing we did for Gregory was completely change the diet and went straight alkaline foods, as you educated us to do. And, we did a lot of things, as everyone knows, but it made a big difference. And so thank you for your sharing your just huge heart, Richard, and sharing your wisdom with all of us. And I know we have a few questions. Mike would like to say, what's your opinion of 9.5 water?
9.5 water is an alkaline level for promotion to sell it to sell you something. You can get that type of water, and all those water bottles. They advertise that because they want to sell it to you, and it's just processed water. You can get very, very inexpensive ionizers and water machines and things you can do. Just a simple reverse osmosis. A lot of people have reverse osmosis in their house already, and all you do is put a Remin filter between the reverse osmosis and your tap water, and you've got the best water in the world. But the water 9.5 is an advertisement. As long as it's above 7, you got good water, but you don't want to have any lead or anything else, fluorides or anything else in your water.
Great. Thank you for that. Yeah. RO water tastes really good, but you got to add the minerals back.
That's right.
Diane would like to know if she could get the slides. And I think other people want to know also. Is that possible?
Of course.
Okay, so reach out to Richard.
You just look up with me and I'll provide you anything you want. We want the world to have this. I'll even personalize you your own thing that you can present yourself. Become an alkalarian and join us.
I love it. And Michelle wants to know if she could put dressing on her cat.
It depends upon what. Now you can put this good old stuff like olive oil and ghee. I dress it up. In fact, I got a video on how to make cat and all the different things. And that's will be available on my website, How to Make a Cat.
Great. Lots of wonderful acknowledgments for you. Thank you very much. This is really helpful, fantastic information. Thank you, Richard. Helen and Tim want to know about patches for antioxidants.
We'll say that again.
Patches for antioxidants.
Oh, I'm going to let you answer that.
We have many.
I'm patched up, but there are so many. And just like what Zoe was saying, I just put them all on. I don't even know what some of them are doing, but I just put them on because David told me to do it, and I'm patched up every day, man. And so I do have a quick testimony of my wife. 2019, on her birthday in July, she had her back fused. Her 4th and 5th lumbar and S1 was all fused. They went into the stomach, opened her up, cleaned out the disc, put 2 new discs in there, turned her over, sliced down her back, put a cage on there with 6 screws. We started her on the patches, and I got some patches from Robin in the beginning of June, the end of June, And we started her on the day after she got out of her operation on July the 19th. And the doctors told her she had 4 to 6 months of recovery. We went back 30 days later, and she said, the doctor said, "You're looking really good." We were on our 60-day checkup. She was completely done and healed. And she had no more pain in her back. And we take those patches every day.
That's wonderful. Well, glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. So that's a great one for people. And Diane says, can you sign up on the website? I don't see that option.
Looks like Zoe wanted to share something about antioxidants.
Oh, great. Zoe.
Yes. Okay. So the other reason that I work alongside Rich is a bit of a research buff. Yes, you mentioned antioxidants in the patches, and glutathione is the body's own natural antioxidant. It's produced within the body. By using the glutathione patches, it increases the glutathione production within the body. I personally was using the carnosine alongside that because carnosine increases the energy level within cells. So therefore, it helps with the distribution of the carnosine throughout the body. So yes, those two help with detox.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And Richard, Myrna wants to know about the electric water filters that apparently alkalize the water. What's your belief on those? I don't want to mention brand names.
Yeah, I don't do brand names anymore either. We used to sell them years ago, but those new, there's one main brand they came out with, and they charge $3,000 to $5,000. Very expensive water, and it's not worth it. There are much better machines out there if you want a machine. But if you just do RO water, in your, like Robin mentioned, put the minerals on it, you got the best water in the world. Just take all the crap and junk out of it and make sure you know what your water, because you can test it. But as far as the okay, ask me the question again. I'm sorry.
No, she just wanted to know about the electric filters, and you're doing a great job. And I heard that, that those filters emit a lot of EMFs also. And there are many wonderful alternatives that are a fraction of the cost that will alkaline, huh?
I got my EMF badges right here.
All right.
This is a bracelet that I've been wearing for 50 years from a good friend in California. Actually, Zoe's mate, he has these bracelets with it right there, and that goes right on your bloodline. And I am protected. My house is protected.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I think we've come to the end of our time. Any other final comments or questions? You can put them in the chat before we say goodbye today. But I want to thank everyone for being here. This is really a huge contribution, Richard, because in life, David Schmidt says it beautifully, the patches do wonderful things, but we have to do our part.
That's right.
And living an alkaline lifestyle in all those different dimensions that you mentioned, it's the air we breathe and the water and the food and our mindset can be amazing shift in how our alkalinity is affected. And yes, 80 years young, and what an amazing, vibrant example of life you are. So thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll complete our call. Bye everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day.